Greetings, sir. We are Kapwa Dangal ng Bayan. Our group consists of
Mariel Nicole R. Arevalo,
Catherine Belio,
Christian M. Ignacio,
Alsen B. Kapitbahay,
Mark Jermel A. Mengito,
Ryan Claire A. Polinar,
Oliver Emmanuel C. Quiroz,
Reverend Joy R. Salasiban,
Lawrence Andrew B. Santos,
and Lorenzo M. Tagalog Jr.
we were tasked with creating a simple web application that would allow the user to enter a number in a text field up to a maximum of 12 digits and then generate and display the given output using buttons.
In our HTML file, we first created the basic structure of HTML, which starts with declaring the document type into HTML through doctype HTML. Following that is the HTML tag, then followed by the head tag that contains a title tag.
The title tag contains a value called Sublime Project. This title will serve as the web page name. Under the head tag is a link tag that will be used to link the CSS file that will be explained later on. Following the head tag is the body tag. Inside the body tag, you will see that we created two paragraph tags that have an ID of BTN Title 1 and BTN Title 2, respectively.
The first paragraph tag has the label of Prelim Project, and the second paragraph has the label of Input a number 1 to 12 digits only, and serves as the label for the text field.
The next tag is an input tag with text as its type. This will serve as the text field for the user to input digits. After the paragraph tags and text field, we created 6 button tags to meet the program requirements.
The first button tag has an ID of BTN count all digit, and we labeled it as count all digits to inform the user what the button can do. This button is used for counting the digits or the length of the user's input.
The second and third tags have an ID of BTN count all even and BTN count all odd. They have their own label for what the button can do. These buttons can count all even or odd digits from the user's input depending on what button the user has clicked.
The fourth button tag has an ID BTN count most occurring, which should print the digit that has the most frequency of occurrence within the number given by the user. It has the label of display most occurring digits.
The fifth button has the ID of BTN find digit. This is used to check if the digit that the user wants to find is within the number that the user inputted in the text field. This is used to check if the digit that the user wants to find is within the number that the user entered. It has a label of find a digit.
The last button tag has an ID of BTN clear, which is used to reset or simply clear the text field and the result.
Following the button tags are another 2 paragraph tags that have an ID of P output title and P output. The first paragraph tag has a label of output and is used for labeling the second paragraph tag that is used for displaying the results. Finally, the last tag in the HTML file is the script tag that is used to link an external JavaScript file which will be present later on.
We have included some designs in our web page using CSS to enhance the design and aesthetics of our program. Firstly, for our body in the HTML, we positioned it in a relative or the normal position with a dimension of 1920 by 1080.
All the font used in our program is Tahoma to avoid confusion and achieve minimalistic. We also added a feature in our buttons which is the hover feature that makes the button change color when the mouse cursor is hovered in order to visually emphasize what the user is hovering to. By adding this feature, we can help the user friendliness of our program.
We use an external JavaScript in our program that is separated from the source code of our HTML file. To start, we first declare 2 variables named txt_number and poutput that has a document.getElement by id method on each to get the element of both respectively.
For the first button, named count digits, it has a function named display count digits, which will be executed if the user clicks the button. In the display count digits function, we first validate the user's input with the function check input. After checking if it's valid,
we call the function count digits to get the total number of digits. In the same function, we used a for loop to count all digits and an if statement so that the negative sign or decimal point will not be counted.
This variable will be used as the result, and in order to show the result in the output paragraph, we used inner HTML property to set the paragraph with poutput_id to the value of the variable. We also include an if-else statement for validation that checks if the text field is empty and if the user has entered a valid number in the text field or not.
Next is the second button, count even. We also declared the function named count even that contains an if-else statements that validates if the user has entered a valid number in the text field. We declared total number of digits variable as a container for the length of the number that the user has entered. We also declared a counter variable that has an initial value of 0 that will be used in the for loop that counts the number of even digits.
To check if the digit is an even number, we use conditional statements if the value of the char I of the user's input, which in this case, converted to a number modulo 2, is equal to 0. Open parenthesis, number, open parenthesis, txt number dot value dot char at, open parenthesis I, close parenthesis, modulo 2 equal 0, close parenthesis. Then the digit is an even number. If the statement is truly, then the counter will increment.
Then in the third button, count all odd digits. We declare the function named countOdd. This will also be executed if the button is clicked. This function has the same logic and flow as the count even function above, but the only difference is that we use a conditional operation not to check the equality between the value of the char I of the user's input and the number 0. Number text number that value the char at I modulo 2 not equals to 0.
For the fourth button, display most occurring digits, first we declared a function named display most occurring digit and has a nested for loop inside it. The first for loop will iterate through the numbers 0 to 9 and it will be used as the reference for checking the user's input later on. While the second for loop will iterate through the user's input, the second loop has a conditional statement that checks if each digit from 0 to 9 is present in the user's input.
With the I variable as the reference of all digits, it will check if the value of I is equal to each of the user's inputted digits. If the condition is true, then the current count variable will increment. To compare what digit has the most occurrence in the text field, we just use an if statement that will determine if the current count is greater than the most count. If true, then the current count will be the value of the most count, and the most occurring digit will be the value of the I variable.
But if the first condition becomes false, we will check again the variables if they have the same value. If this is true, then we will concatenate the values if there are more than one digit with the highest occurrence. And in displaying the output, we first check if all of the digits have the same occurrences. If true, then it will print a text in the paragraph saying that all the digits have the same occurrences. Otherwise, the most occurring digit or digits will be printed.
And the fifth button, named Find Digit, when the user clicks this button, a prompt will pop up asking the user for a digit that he or she wants to find. If all validations are passed, the code will then run a for loop. Inside the for loop is an if statement that determines whether the digit is present at the digits that the user first entered in the text field. If the digit that the user entered in the prompt is not present, the program will display that the digit is not present.
For the last button, clear, we declared a function named clearText which sets the value of txt number and poutput to null, and sets the cursor focus into the txt number text field.
Check input function was also created to check the input of the value in the text field. This function will check if the input is not a number, the number of digits is greater than 12, and if the input contains spaces, negative sign, and decimal point, this method will return false when one of the conditions is true.
Another function for validation is the checkDigit function, which accepts a parameter digit and returns false when the digit is not a number, a space, an empty string, a decimal number, less than 0, or the digit is greater than 9.
Checkfield function was also created to check if the text field is empty. This function will return true if the text field is empty and return false if not. On the other hand, the checkIfDecimal function with a parameter digit will check the value stored in the digit variable and will return true if the digit is decimal and false if not.
We also declare a display error message, open close parenthesis, function with a meter message that will be used to display error messages. The parameter will be used to know what error message is to be displayed.
When we run our web page, you will see the title, which is the prelim project. Then under the title, there is a statement telling the user that they can only enter up to 12 digits. If they go beyond the limit, a prompt will appear that says, the number of digits you entered is greater than 12. Under the text field are 6 buttons. These buttons correspond to specific functions such as
Count all digits button will count all the numbers in the text field. Count all even digits button will count all the even numbers in the text field. Count all odd digits button will count all the odd numbers in the text field. Display most recurring digits button will show the most recurring number or which has a duplicate in the text field. Find a digit button will show a prompt asking the user to enter what digit they want to find. Then lastly is the clear button, which will remove the output and reset the text field. Underneath the buttons is the output, where the answer is displayed.
On this part, we will now tackle the validations of our program. The first validation we put is that the text field should have a value first before clicking the count all digits, count all even digits, count all odd digits, display most occurring number, and find a digit. Else, a prompt will appear saying the text field is empty, please input a number first.
The second validation that we put is that the user is not allowed to input a string value. Once the user tries to click count all digits, count all even digits, count all odd digits, display most occurring number, and find a digit with a string value, an alert message will appear saying invalid input.
Furthermore, entering an integer and string at the same time will not be accepted too, as this will be considered as not a number or NaN or none. Entering a space on a text field is invalid because space is not a number but considered as character.
Next validation is when the user clicks buttons count all digits, count all even digits, count all odd digits, display most occurring number, and find a digit. But the digits he or she entered are more than 12 digits. A prompt will appear saying the number of digits you entered is greater than 12.
The last validation is on the button named Find a Digit. When you click the OK button in the prompt without entering any number, an alert message will appear saying, please provide the number you want to search. And when user entered a space or a letters, an alert message will be shown saying invalid input. When the user clicks cancel on alert message, it will appear saying you canceled this operation.
The prompt will not accept decimal values, so when the user inputs a decimal number, an alert message will be displaying saying digit must be a whole number. Also, the prompt will only accept a digit between 0 and 9 to search, so if the user enters a number less than 0 or greater than 9, an alert message will appear saying the digit must be between 0 and 9. It will ask again the user to input a digit. Searching for a number that does not exist in what you entered in the text field will be answered by the program by saying that the number you entered is not present.
And that concludes the presentation of our prelim project in client-side scripting.
We are Kapwa Dangal.
Bayan.
Thank you for watching.